Hello. this banner. Let this banner be a symbol of hope, a blanket of protection for those who need it, a cape of power for those who must be empowered. Let this flag be a standard for our conviction to embody all of these things and to be the change we will upon the world. Let the will we weave to empower and protect be woven into this flag as we weave it into the world. With our blessing, let all love be sacred, all unions be safeguarded, and all people be free. I'd like to invite up Vanessa Botero Laurie, if they are here. Okay. To do the invocation, I have the reading right here. You're very well.
Do not stand at my grave. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds and circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die.
We gather today to celebrate the life and mourn the death of Penny Maldonado. Penny was a daughter, a niece, a student, a friend, a caring and a loving person, and I'm already going to go off script. She was not technically a cult leader. But I have heard from people who know her well that that would be the best way to describe her. All right. My name is Nathan Ryan. I'm one of the ministers here at the Unitarian Church. Before I go any further, I want to name two things. One is we know there are risers behind us. Tonight is the New Orleans Gay Men's Chorus. When we were talking about a date for Penny's service, we decided the day before Pride Month, the day of a defiant sense of singing would happen here, that we would have this service and we would have risers up because that's a part of it. So I just want to name that. The second thing I want to name is how heavy this is today, and to just make space for it to be as heavy as it is. Period. Now, I'm going to go back on script. I am honored to welcome you to this very difficult day and this very difficult service. I want to start by saying that while Penny was raised in this church, as the best that I know, most of her experiences here were positive, she chose after the COVID shutdowns to not attend the church anymore. Now, this does not necessarily mean that Penny was not Unitarian Universalist. In fact, it's pretty common for youth and young adults to kind of have diminishing attendance as they get older. But I just cannot in good faith tell you that she did or did not identify this as her faith now at this point in her life. I do know the last few years she was identifying very strongly as an atheist. For those of you who are guests here, this religion has no belief requirement. As such, her beliefs and her identities would have in no way excluded her from this church. Similar, this church cannot make any promises about her belief of or the existence of or the absence of an afterlife. The simple fact is none of us are certain what happens next. And in the spirit of welcoming and hospitality, we hope that all of you today, in person and online, will feel like this service is a place where this church and this service is a place and a time where you are welcome to be your full self here today. Because a Unitarian Universalist memorial may be new to some of you, here's some of the things I would like for you to know today. First, It is okay for you to laugh. Penny deserves to be retold in her fullness. That means making space for her to be fully human. That means not entirely defining her as perfect, but also not only defining her by her faults. And most importantly, she is a person who brought more joy into this world, and that needs to shine through today. Second, we will not, under any circumstance, be able to fully retell her story this hour. She is too complicated, just as all of you are too complicated. So instead of reaching for perfection, we're going to just make space for parts of her story to be told. But her retelling doesn't happen from up here. It happens from each of you. When you hear a song or stories that remind you of her, when you see a picture, your body is going to fire off the exact same chemicals it did when she was in front of you. Your muscles will tension or loosen, your eyes will dilate or not, just like they did when she was in front of you. So while her story cannot be fully retold from up here, for each of you together gathered in this congregation, that is where her whole story will manifest. Third, this is a sacred space, and as such, all aspects of Penny's identity and gender need to be respected here. She must always be remembered as a woman who did the hard work to discern who she was. She faced considerable social obstacles that tried to keep her from being who she was born to be, but because of her loving and supportive family and friends, she was able to live into the person that she was meant to be. That needs to be celebrated here today as well. Fourth, none of us have the language to appropriately describe why or what it means that Penny died so young. I would encourage you to not try and make meaning here. We should never look for God, or if that term doesn't work for you, a greater order or a meaning, or however you understand the divine. We should never look for that in the accident or in the loss. Instead, I will encourage you to look for it in the response. Look at how so many communities have wrapped themselves around Penny's family and friends. Look for all of the people who are carrying on, who keep holding on, who checked in on each other. That is where the meaning is, in my guess. Fifth, all of you are here because you had some connection to Penny in one way or another. She has always been a healer and a connector. See, Julie, that's where I was debating whether to put the cult leader thing in or not, and I chose not to. What are the four? There was the cult leader, the evil genius, the explorer, and the Jiminy, the conscience. And Penny was the cult leader. So this is her one of her cohorts she went with. So just to bring you all up to speed on what those references are. So once again today, our goal is not completion or perfection. Our goal is to give each of you a chance to think about your friend, your family member, again today. I will now invite Penny's mother, Julie, up to light our chalice. This is a ritual we have in our church. And once it is lit, we will say some words together. And as printed in the order of service, we say, with hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is the symbol of the power of love. If your bodies let you today, would you rise for this next hymn?
My life flows on in I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. And though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging. Its love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths, since I first learned to love it. I have that peace still in my heart, a fountain ever springing, and when my time on earth is done, how can I keep from singing?
I would also like to invite now Zachary DeCure up for this next reading. Right here to right there.
Okay. Remember me. To the living I am gone. To the sorrowful I will never return. To the angry I was cheated, but to the happy I am at peace. And to the faithful I have never left. I cannot be seen, but I can be heard. So as you stand upon a shore, gazing at a beautiful sea, remember me. As you look in awe at a mighty forest in its grand majesty, remember me. As you look upon a flower and admire its simplicity, remember me. Remember me in your heart, your thoughts, your memories of the time we loved, the times we cried, the times we fought, the times we laughed. For if you always think of me, I will never be gone.
So the way we're going to do eulogies today is we're not going to tell Penny's story chronologically. We're just going to have some snapshots of who Penny was. So first I would like to invite Connor Waters up.
There's a lot of people here. Penny was a great friend to many of us, and I can't think of a specific memory because I was just so many, but there was many times that Penny had gotten me out of situations that I don't think I could have handled on my own, And I mean, I've known Penny for 11 years now, and there were so many times throughout middle school and high school I was struggling with school, struggling with myself, struggling with what I wanted to do, and I was always there for Penny, and Penny was always there for me. We hung out a lot, we talked a lot, we played games together a lot. I think one of my greatest memories was in robotics. I was struggling with staying focused on school, staying focused on robotics, staying focused on what I really wanted to do. And Penny, over and over again, would come to me and remind me that this is what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life, and would help keep me on task and remember that having fun in the short term isn't going to help me long term. But Penny was always there for me. Penny was always there for many others. And I can't imagine what I'm going to do now that we don't have her. Thank y'all.
Online folks, just so you know, Julie just went up to make sure Connor's okay. So next, I was told to not even try to pronounce his last name. I apologize to you. I was told to just call you Mr. Brady. If you would come and share.
All right, first off, Connor, great job. Teach me how to publicly speak whenever we're done here. Thanks. All right, I had to write this down because there are so many thoughts of Penny. My name is Brady Adamowitz, and I was Penny's robotics instructor. I had the privilege of teaching Penny in both regular robotics, intro to robotics, and advanced robotics. She joined my class, I think, during sophomore year, and from that very first semester, she showed me that she didn't just want to learn how things worked. She wanted to figure out new ways to make them work better. That was Penny. She was quiet, but constantly tinkering with both machines and ideas. She was the builder on our VEX robotics team, and while some students were really good at following instructions, Penny questioned. In the best way. She was brilliant at seeing problems from unexpected angles and coming up with ideas that the rest of us hadn't even imagined. They weren't always practical, but they were always smart, and more often than not, they worked. One year, we were part of a drone competition team, and this is probably something that most of y'all don't know, because it was sort of an inside joke. I think I might actually be a member of that cult. I had no idea, but here we are. So one year we were part of a drone competition team, and somewhere along the way, I gave Penny the nickname Venom. Okay, I can't remember exactly why I decided upon Venom, aside from the fact that that was the brand of the batteries we were using, but it seemed to match her quiet intensity. And lo and behold, she showed up the next day with Venom goggles, really leaning into it. The nickname seemed fitting because of how she could always absolutely destroy a technical challenge without breaking a sweat. And then there were the Heelys. Do you guys know what Heelys are? So they're and And it was funny because my son, he used to be in the classroom during COVID with me, and he'd scoot around on these Heelys, and most people would outwardly make fun of both him and I for the Heely thing. I didn't use them, full disclosure. Penny was a style influencer, at least in our wonderfully nerdy corner of the world. She was the first person I ever saw show up to robotics practice on Heelys. In retrospect, it was the most obvious mode of transportation for the engineering elite. It wasn't just funny. It made sense, you know? Leave it to Penny to find a way to get from one end of the robotics room to the other with minimal friction and maximum flair. As long as she was there, she inspired the whole robotics team to adorn their Heelys and roll through nationals like the gangster little nerds that they were. It was a hell of a trip, and Penny was one of the folks that made it so memorable. I'll also never forget the day, and if you're in the group text, I'm sorry, but the day I observed her quietly glowing with excitement about the Jell-O Museum. At first, I was like, she surely has to be being sarcastic, but nope. She had taken a trip, and she genuinely loved it. She described the exhibits with the same enthusiasm most people reserve for music festivals or roller coasters. That was Penny. She could find joy in the most unexpected places and make the rest of us see it too. Now, thanks to her, the next time I go back up north, I'm gonna have to visit the Jell-O Museum to see what all the hype was about. But Penny wasn't just funny or inventive, she was a leader. She didn't command the room with volume, she did it with clarity, she listened deeply, she made space for others to feel seen and heard. New team members gravitated towards her. She didn't just make their robots better, she made people better. She made me better. Her questions and her perspective made me rethink the way that I taught and led. That's the kind of student who leaves a mark, like so many of the students that are here today. And while she didn't go and get to take all the adventures she deserves, she walked with us and led many of us through ours. She helped us find our footing, and even when she was rolling on her Heelys. Penny's legacy isn't just in the projects she built, or the sarcasm that she quietly delivered, or the way that she walked or rolled into a room. It was the way that she made us more curious, more kind, and more comfortable in our own weird, wonderful skins. So today, I hope we can all carry a little bit of Penny forward. Ask the odd question, make it weird, take the scenic route, find the joy in Jell-O, and if you can, roll there on Heelys. Hail the traveler, and thank you, Penny, for everything.
And our last eulogy is going to be from her cousin, Lee Abbott.
Hey, y'all. Thank you all for what you've shared and for being here for my cousin Penny and my family. And my name's Lee. I'm Penny's cousin. I live in New Orleans, but I grew up here in Baton Rouge. Penny's mom, Julie, is my Maran, my aunt and my godmother. I had worried about giving this testimony today because Penny and I had not been in a lot of regular contact before she died. What was I going to say? How was I going to speak to Penny's hopes and dreams except through secondhand recollections? I'm still not exactly sure, but I'm going to try. We weren't as close for the simple reasons that a lot of cousins with big age differences, we lived in different cities, going through different stages of life. When she died, she was a college student settling in at Louisiana Tech, and I was, living a working adult life in New Orleans. When we did get to see each other, it was far too infrequently, usually just for the holidays, and I'm regretting that. But I have to say it because I knew Penny the closest before she found herself as Penny, as the woman she really was. That means, unfortunately, that I didn't get to see Penny fully embody herself, to be herself after she came out. And so I'm really thankful that those of you who did know her in that, that stage and that point in her life are here to share that with me. Therefore, all of my stories are really about memories of when Penny was a child, during the intermittent visits back home when I got to see her, got to see Maran and her. So I'm going to try to honor Penny as she lives on in my memory and as I understand what her life means to me and my family. I want to start, though, by saying that Penny was bright and intelligent and nerdy. This kid loved robotics, as we've all heard, and was good at it, was competitive in it. Engineering, science, math, these are all things that I'm terrible at. But you have to understand that Penny's brilliance at science is related to the nerdiness that is a carefully cultivated Richard attribute. Some families raise their children to be brilliant business minds, lawyers, doctors, or bring them into a family trade. Richards become deeply nerdy, strange individuals within whatever career they find themselves pursuing. Besides all the board games and reading that happened in our homes, you would have my mom and Maran singing sea shanties and Celtic ballads, reciting lines from Young Frankenstein, and dressing up for Ren Fair regularly, even at home when we're not at Ren Fair, for some reason. With their influence, there's no way Penny was going to grow up normal. And Maran and I have spoken about this, yes. And all the better for that. As my brother reminded me, Penny had a loud, infectious laugh and smile and a tendency to give a very, very involved explanation about games, robotics, and science that she was engaged in. In all these ways, she was very much her mother's daughter. And so despite being myself 20 plus years older than her, every time I hung out with Penny, it was obvious to me that she was a Richard through and through. A beautiful trans indigenous woman, she's gone before I really got to know her as well as an adult. I'm sad my mom never got to know her as an adult either, because she loved Penny. When my mom died around 12 years ago, I spent the hours after the funeral in a complete daze, an absolute wreck. Hours into the repast at my family's home, I walked away from the house and up to the edge of our driveway. I don't remember why, just unconsciously veering away from everyone at the house. I must have been staring off into the trees that screened the rest of the neighborhood when I felt Penny's hand take mine. I looked at her. She was only 9 or 10, I think, and so very short. She looked me straight in the eye without any self-consciousness or awkwardness and said, I wanted to check on you. And she stood there with me for a while before we went back to the house, waiting with the family waiting inside. This is one of the primary memories I have of that day. Much of the rest of it is a blur or buried away. Just Penny standing with me, knowing I needed someone at that moment. And she was always this way as a kid, thoughtful, present, and funny. There's a picture I love of Penny, back when we called Penny T. Y'all know because T is short for petit. She's a toddler in this picture. It's at the Ren Fair. And everyone's totally decked out, even Penny in a tunic and vest, sitting with her mother, her sister, my mom, and Aunt Janet. While everyone else is beautifully posed and pointed at the camera, Penny, the toddler, is laughing, shouting at something off camera, as if something clearly much more important and hilarious is going on where you're not looking. I kept that picture on my desk for years. Penny's smile at the center of the picture and her family surrounding her. It has a particular framing. It's a picture special to me not only because it included my mom, but because it framed together several female members of my family. Now that framing includes Penny. Of course, it was taken way before we knew Penny as herself, before she came out to us as Penny. But isn't it amazing how this picture was given new meaning in the way that what I cherished as a memory and event, bringing these family members together, because the Ren Fair seemed to be that place for us for so many years, is now reframed as a new way of seeing the past, of seeing my mother, my aunts, and my cousins. We're all trying to make family, to make it out of the biological and familiar relations around us. And one way we do this is through the pictures we take and the ways we bring people, whether they're related to us by blood or not, into the frame. But the frame itself is also important. The picture of family becomes family through the framing, the choices of exclusion and inclusion. The picture I'm thinking about here, unwittingly, unknowingly, already included her among other Richard women. By coming out as trans, Penny claimed her identity for herself and thus reshaped the frame for our family to see her as a trans woman. The last thing I want to say is more general and existential. When young people die, which is always too soon, of course, it feels like we're left witnessing an emptiness that stands for what would have been the potential of their life. I know this because I've been here before, thinking about the possibilities for our son Adam when he died in 2021. We're left with questions like, where would Penny go after graduating from Louisiana Tech? What would she become? What would her life look like as she got older? This is part of the tragedy because the things we can glean from Penny's life, from any young person's life cut short, seem negated by death. We're left with questions we can't answer, but the questions themselves, I think, still offer us an odd hope that the meaning of their life will carry on, will inspire others, and add further hope to this world. This difficult world is getting more difficult, more threatening for young, working-class trans people like Penny. There are forces working actively to negate Penny and trans folk like her. As a person and as a people who exist and who represent ethical values of authenticity, survival, and resistance to oppression, Penny faced down the potential of rejection and violence and came out to her mother, her friends, and her family. She had to enact these ethics to be herself. I've never had to do what Penny did to try to live authentically against so much social expectation and resistance. I think there's hope there for sure, Penny. Thank you.
I'd like to invite you to stay seated as we sing this next hymn through together. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
I will now invite you into a moment of communal meditation and thought. Join together as we all breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in the same air that has sustained life since the beginning of time. Breathe out your love and heartbreak for Penny so it can fill this room. Breathe in the connections each of you have to each other through our newly departed. Breathe out your hopes for the future so that maybe someone else can be held by your heart in this difficult time. I now invite you into collective silence as we feel the love held in this room. As we now begin to bring our full selves back into this place, please take a few moments in silence to look around and take a look at all of the others here to honor Penny's life and living. Look around. We are not alone, and Penny is with us.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
May you know that you are loved. May you know that you should be who you were born to be. May you know that your very existence matters.
Okay, too
There
many
are
Kathys.
Too many Kathys. Jinx.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to break me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, oh, 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 oh. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, far away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, and that's what we've become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Oh, 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 oh. And I know that I deserve your love. Nothing I'm not worthy of. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching down to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me.
I'm just going to invite us all to take a deep breath in and out. As we transition into a litany of remembrance, I will say a phrase, and then you will say after me, we remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the heat of the summer, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are questioning ourselves and need words of encouragement, we remember them. When we see people in Heelys with minimum friction and maximum flair, we remember them. When we think about Jell-O, I will now remember Penny. When we think about Jell-O and the joy of unexpected adventures, we remember them. When we think about family and how we reframe ourselves and our families as we grow, we remember them. As we remember people and ourselves as we live into our authentic selves, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. As long as we live, they too shall live, and we remember them.
So the goal for after this service is for you to feel like there's a weight lifted off of you. Most likely not forever, but at least for a little while. A few things also I wanted to say. I've been to enough funerals when there's a death of a young person, people are listening for the keywords of suicide or drug addiction. Neither of those are the case here. And I just want to name that so it's out there and you don't have to worry. There are many ways that people die, and I want you to be able to tell the correct story in your head about this one. Also, I would like for you to just think about who is in the room, and I'm going to try and make this as flat and not make me cry as possible. But the people who are here that I could count are classmates and friends of Penny, her family, some of her family, the people who taught Sunday school here, who knew her growing up, some of her teachers in, I guess, regular school are here. Church people who have kids the same age, who've seen them grow up together. There's a group now of parents who've lost a child. Many of them are here. There are, the only service I've ever been to, the whole staff showed up. I think there are some people from the LGBT community who just want to support a member of their community. And there are congregational care team folks who intentionally asked what foods she liked that are as a part of the reception. Yeah, Fruity Pebbles. Oh, how did that not even come up? Whose fault? There's only 3 people to blame who's not on staff. So can I blame you? All right. Everyone. Fruity Pebbles was the name of their robotics team. No, there's 2 of you who are at fault for that. Lee, you're off the hook. You're clear. What? Yeah. All right, that's it. All right, we're going to blame the teacher because that's the way. Fruity Pebbles was the name of the robotics team, and there are Fruity Pebble things. Yeah, Rice Krispies, Fruity Pebble treats in the reception. Online folks, you got to, I guess, melt some marshmallows and put Fruity Pebbles in it, whatever. Okay. There are more groups here that I was not able to name, but I just want to let that be here. Penny Maldonado lived on this earth for 19 years. She shared her courage, her love, and her support. She made sure that others were taken care of. And her body has given all that it can. Dressed in some of the best Renaissance clothes, surrounded by photos of those who loved her, Penny's body was cremated. Some of her ashes will be scattered later at the Peace Stones here at the church. Some of them will probably be scattered at family homes, maybe in the river. And this is important and unique. There are 100 containers of Penny's ashes here. After this service, we're going to bring them into the narthex, which is fancy church words for the place that isn't outside but isn't the sanctuary. And there are pre-stamped postcards. The request from Julie is that you would take some of her ashes and scatter them somewhere, and then write down on that postcard where her ashes were scattered and mail it back to her. And the idea is that she will get remembrances of her daughter from very weird places. Either places that are really important to Penny that you know, or just places that will have the effect that she had spread throughout this world. After we sing a song, we will do a benediction, we'll leave. There will be a reception. Please stay for that. Please talk to each other about that. That is where the true memorial happens. Also, for those of you who are friends with Penny, for those of you who are in her family, check on each other in 1 and 2 and 3 months. This is going to take years, not to get over, but to come out of the fog of. And when the people who aren't directly affected do not understand why you are not over it yet, be there for those people who are affected. Does that make sense? But telling her story, that is how we will celebrate her. And while this ends today's service, her story does not end. May you know peace and may you know love. Amen. Let's sing. If your body can let you rise.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. My sorrow heals my soul, and burdens make me strong. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. And though the journey is long, my destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So neighbors, take my hand, and friends, come join my song. When hope awaits at every turn, I know, I can, we will go on.
This is not the end. This is just the next step. The world is better because Penny was here, and the world is better because you are here. Go in peace, go in love. Amen.